estamos en WONDERCON, en Duelo de Filmotecas, y yo soy Dante, Brando está detrás de cámara, y es él. He put me under the bus. We're gonna interview Caitlin Glass and Shannon Baker Davis. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself so the viewers can know what is the you do?
After you. Oh, really? Okay. I'm an editor, and I've worked on Ironheart for Marvel, and I just recently did Ryan Murphy's show The Beauty, which is based on a graphic novel also. But I've done tons of comedy and drama and action and all sorts of things. So,
Okay,
yeah.
you're behind the scenes.
Very much so,
Okay.
behind the scenes.
And you.
Yeah, I'm Caitlin Glass, and I am a voice actress for anime and video games, and also a voice director and casting director. So I am behind the scenes, but also in front of the scenes, but still behind the scenes because it's just my voice and not my face.
Okay, so the panel is for diversity in indie films and blockbusters. How do you feel diversity? Let's talk behind the scenes. How do you see if there's a big diversity, or does it change if there's a diversity or not on the editing process or on the casting crew?
Yeah.
Do you see a difference?
For sure. I think as different stories get told, you want people behind the camera that can relate to the stories that are being told, so that they don't get, for lack of a better word, whitewashed, and so they don't become all the same that we've seen before. And I think when you're doing smaller projects, even to when you're doing bigger projects, you want something that's going to resonate with people. And if it feels the same as that they've seen before, they're like, whatever, I don't need to watch that. But you want to do that thing that like sparks something in somebody that hasn't seen themselves on television or in a film before.
Okay, and when you're casting on the casting process, do you see that also, or how do you how do you work that on the casting direction?
I think it's very important to be deliberate and purposeful in your choices as a casting director, because anime as an art form comes from Japan, but it's consumed here in the West by a variety of people. And so when I'm in charge of dubbing something and how the sound of it is going to be ingested by this big multicultural society that is America. And anime means a lot to the Black community and a lot to the Latino and Hispanic community. And
you grew up on
it, whether it was with Spanish dubs or Spanish subtitles. Exactly. So I have always told myself that I want the dubs I make to sound like the people that watch them.
Okay.
Yeah, and while we can be limited by location, right, where we are making said dubs, and do we have the talent that we need, that's why I say you have to be deliberate. You have to decide, I want to make sure that 75% of my cast are BIPOC, for example. Or what if I made this entire show all people of color? Let's just see if I can do it and what it sounds like. So you have to decide that you want to do that, and it matters because it does make a more authentic product. People at home go, that girl sounds like me, or even she sounds like my sister or my mom. Or that person sounds like my best friend. If I'm making a show about a school, in Japan, society is more homogenized. They generally tend to look like one another. But if we're representing a schoolroom here, we don't all sound the same. So I want everybody to sound different. And that's usually my goal.
I never thought about it that way, but it does make sense because when I watch anime, I like to watch anime. I watch it on the Japanese with subtitles, but my best friend watches it on Spanish. And I always say, why do you watch it on Spanish? And he says, because I like to listen and see, that's how they translate that word. So I can, in Mexican, Latin, because there's a difference between Mexican and Colombian and Puerto Rican, Spanish, Castilian. He can know, they're talking about me. They're talking to me. So in the editing process, you use a word that I love to use, it's whitewashing. When you're doing the editing process, you choose what is the important part of it, whether it's a TV series or a movie. So we, as the viewers, can be like, that's the scene that we see. How do you process that so that the people, I believe the director, whatever, can be like, I understand why you choose that scene instead of this?
I mean, for me, it's all about performance and what
Okay.
feels real and what feels emotional or what's funny. And I have this process when I'm watching dailies, which is all of the day's footage that comes in, where I handwrite notes still. Like, that's the way that I do it. And sometimes I'll write a post-it note and just put it on the wall and say, I saw this moment and it made me laugh or it made me tear up.
Okay.
And because when you've watched it 1,000 times, it's probably not going to make you laugh again.
Yeah.
There's some things that
Yeah.
I've watched on a film or cut myself that make me giggle every single time I see it still. But
funny.
for the most part, like when you've seen it 1,000 times, you're not going to cry.
Yeah.
And then you put it together and then you show it to someone and then they have that reaction. You're like, oh, I remember that. So for me, it's all about performance.
Okay.
What performance feels real, what line reads feel authentic, especially when you're talking about urban shows or
Yeah.
shows about a specific niche
Yeah.
community. And then I also do my own research. If it is a show about Latin community or LGBTQ community, I'll ask my friends, does this feel real to you? Just so I can make sure that I'm not like misrepresenting
Okay.
things. And I hope that filmmakers in general will do that, will like reach out or hire the person
they don't
that
wanna
is
do
from
it,
that
somebody, yeah.
community into their project at some point in the process that they're referencing, because we don't all know what everybody lives through and how they live.
Yeah.
And that's the power of film and television, is that we get to see how people
Yeah.
live.
You can see ourselves represented there.
We can
And
see
sometimes-
ourselves represented and learn, when my kids have a school, they go to a hippy-dippy school and they talk about windows
Yeah.
and mirrors. They talk about
Yeah.
windows and mirrors, and you want both.
Okay.
You want to see yourself and you also want to see into somebody else's life.
Yeah. So jumping on that question, you as a white casting director, when did you learn, or when did you notice that representation and diversity was important?
I lived for a while in Spain.
Okay.
For about a year and a half. And I had been acting and directing before I went off and did that. Just went and had a little adventure,
Okay.
And then came back and really picked up where I left off. And because I'd been in Spain, the producers gave me a show to dub that took place in a fictional Spain place.
Okay.
Around the Inquisition era. So it's fictional Inquisition era Spain with like a monster of the week type of show, and a guy in armor who's going to fight the monster. And they're like, we thought that you might like this because you just came back from Spain, and they knew they wanted to make sure that everything was pronounced correctly,
Okay.
if there were Spanish names. And a very dear friend of mine who's been a voice actor since before I got started is from Galicia. And so I cast her, and I told her, anytime there's Spanish words, you need to use your Castilian accent, like your Galician accent.
Okay.
So her character's name is Emma Guzman, and of
Emma
course
Guzman.
in Castilian it's Guzman.
Guzman.
Yeah, and there were people who watched who said, like, she says it funny, she doesn't say it right. And I'm like, y'all, she is Spanish. She is Spanish, okay? Like, you don't even know. So it was then that I'm like, this matters, and there are people out there who are going to make a fuss about it, and they need to knock that off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And because it was taking place in a fake Europe, really anybody could have been in there. And having been in Spain, people look, it's kind of like America. They look like all kinds of things. They're all colors. So that's what our cast was like. So she was Spanish from Galicia. Our main guy was actually Filipino. And as
Okay.
you know, the Spanish went to the Philippines.
Yeah.
So
Where did
there's
the
that.
Spanish go?
Where did they not go? You're right. So it was then.
Sorry.
And it was...
I'm from Mexico.
I love
Mexico.
it. I love
I'm from
it.
Mexico.
What?
They
I-
went to my country.
They sure
got
did.
it.
They went to Africa
we know
too.
they went to Africa. So,
Yeah. So that's what I knew. And even coining that phrase, I want dubs to sound like the people who watch them.
Yeah.
That started when I first started speaking about that show at a convention, at a panel.
Okay.
And someone in the audience who was either Spanish or maybe they're Mexican, they're like, thank you so much for the correct pronunciation
Yeah,
of
of
these
course.
words. It means so much to us. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me.
So we're gonna have to cut right now, but I want to thank you all.
Sure,
Just
thank
before I'm gonna
you.
knock a quick question. Just,
Yeah.
what was the film that you saw that you say, oh, that actually represented my culture
Oh,
in
that
an honest, truthful
represented
way,
an honest and truthful way.
or you feel represented when I said, oh yeah, that
Felt
actually is mine?
represented.
That's a question for both of
Yeah,
us.
you could go first.
I'm just a white person. There's lots of white people movies, you
I had
guys.
to think.
What was your favorite one?
I had to think.
I'm honestly trying to figure. Maybe I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
You know,
that's
maybe
a
I haven't
really
seen it yet,
great answer.
and I don't know. I don't know what aspect of me I am waiting to see represented.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. I think I
yeah.
know, but I don't know how to put it into words
Okay.
yet.
I think I remember Love and Basketball coming out.
Okay.
Oh,
And it was just like I mean, they weren't. I grew up in Georgia in the South, so it was kind of what I aspired to,
Okay.
like get out of the South, get out of the country. And so I saw these like young people, and they went to their school dance, and then they went to college, and they had this love story going through college. And A Different World is another one where
I
it
love
was
that
like
show
it's
when
what
I
I
was young.
aspired to. It wasn't me because I was in a little small town in
Yeah.
Georgia, but I saw that and I was like, oh wow, that just looks so glamorous, and they're so intelligent, and they're all different types of black people on these shows, and so I think those two would be it for me.
Okay, well, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Esto es Duela de Filmotecas. Yo soy Dante. Y gracias.
adiós.
Adiós.
Gracias.
Thank you so much.